y'all, this is Anna Alexander. Welcome back to my living room as I prepare to watch episode 5 of the Netflix series Arcane. And holy hell, has there ever been a show that does kind of more twists and whatnot that I am not prepared for? And when I see those twists, my brain just kind of like explodes. And that's why I laugh. If you're wondering why I laugh when I do, it's because when something surprises me, all that energy of knowing that somebody sat there, created it, wrote it down, pitched it, sold it, storyboarded, animated, lit it, chose to draw this eye this way, this eyebrow this way, and then they put it out there. All that energy, I marvel at. And that's why I laugh when I do. But, right, episode 5, where we left off with episode 4, Vi apparently has been in prison for an undetermined length of time. And Powder did not get the treatment she so desperately needed as a young child, having had this horrific event happen to her, and has kind of been molded into a ruthless killer. Surprised, not surprised. What I did find interesting, and it will be interesting to see going forward, is that the show creators decided to do a time jump and then reintroduce Powder with a new name. So it's almost as if she's an entirely separate character as Jinx than Powder. And will we as the viewers be able to, how are we going to feel about them separately and or together? Now they did do something that was, I think, rather good, was when she thought she saw Vi and kind of had a flashback to their last encounter to remind us, the viewer, that, hey, remember, this ruthless killer is also this tiny child. So that was good that they did that, because I'm wondering if we're going to have to do more of that, because it is quite interesting that essentially it's a whole different character. Not only that, is as if the first 3 episodes were one show, and now we're being presented with a different show altogether, with Vi in prison and Jinx and then Jace and the whole political thing. Right. I know I've said it before. I'm blocked by the magic for several reasons. But this last episode, Progress Day specifically, because of and the only thing I can liken it to would be sort of cultural appropriation, wherein one group of people saw another group of people and went, oh, you have something, you're doing something that we don't like because we either don't understand it, we're scared of it, we just don't like that you have joy, whatever. So we're going to do everything in our power to prevent you from having it. However, if we can cultivate it to make a profit for us, then it's okay as long as we control the aesthetic and what it does, and we can find enjoyment of it. You still can't find enjoyment, but we can. That's how that whole magic thing is kind of striking me. And I'm not sure if that was on purpose. If this is a commentary on appropriation, cool. But then that means one of 3 things could happen. Either it is a commentary on appropriation and how that's bad. Cool. Or it could be it's a commentary on appropriation and how it's a good thing, which would be horrible. Or it was unintentionally, that's not what they intended to at all, and that's what I'm reading into it, which would be a kind of a, why is it there? Because what it does is it makes me, so far, I don't want Jace to succeed if it is the message of appropriation is good. But I don't know what the message is yet. So I'm still trying to figure out what he has to do with anything, especially when that storyline is not nearly as exciting as what's happening underground. So every time they go to Jace and the council, I start to get a little irked because I want to know more about what's happening underground. Because that, for me, is a way more exciting storyline. Yeah, so there we go. So I say let's just jump right into episode 5. We're the halfway point, so things should start to be hitting an apex on our way down the other side. So if you haven't done so already, grab your warm, cozy blanket, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get to it. Is this Caitlin kicking ass? Is this a young Caitlin kicking ass? So I'm going to guess it's the young Caitlyn or Grayson came back from the dead. Probably young Caitlyn.
I'm an enforcer. For me, knowing how to handle this weapon means being able to protect people, to be of service to the city. That's trophy enough. Begs the question, young Chairman. What are you shooting for?
You attacked an inmate. Why?
Why not?
He was a witness in an ongoing investigation.
Bummer. But better. Hey, give Silco a kiss on that winning eye of his, will you?
Why would she mention Silco out of the blue?
Does this mean anything to you?
Where did you get this?
Concerning inmate 516.
Not cooperative, huh? You want us to have a chat with her?
No. How many chats have you had with her?
You know, I never even thought to count.
It's those little details like that. That really, that's world building right there.
You said you could control her. I lost 6 officers.
So he's still on the
6.
payroll.
We've accomplished a lot together, Marcus. And there is more yet to achieve. I hope you can remain a part of that. For their families. From an anonymous, concerned citizen.
Those bag of coins keep showing up, and it's very biblical, I guess. It's that Judas thing that I keep seeing, which I find interesting. An interesting little touch.
You wanted to see me?
Have your people ever reviewed these logs?
Mr. Tallis, I assure you.
Counselor, and the only assurance I need is that you will search and seize any unauthorized merchandise.
You sure you don't want to confer with the other counselors before?
This corruption runs deep, Sheriff. I intend to root it out.
The city gang. They call themselves Firelights. They operate like phantoms doing hit and runs on civilians and disappearing into...
Absolutely. Victor, you all right?
No, he's got blood everywhere. Of course he's not all right.
Magic-y gateway. So the realm
Were those
of
claggers?
and
Goggles?
No, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Oh, and she still has the light beacon too. Oh, okay. Those uniforms really impede a female officer, which makes me wonder if that was done on purpose or not. Again, another little detail that I find interesting. And she is so far ahead of Caitlyn now. You're never going to catch up. That shot reminded me of the Captain Carter scene with her in the moon during What If. That was a great episode. Did you know?
That merchant formerly enjoyed certain leniencies with regard to her trade in exchange for her generous academy patronage.
By leniencies, you mean corruption. I tightened our security.
And in so doing, put a target on your back.
And she shot it anyway? The animation in this is incredible.
Councillor Tallis is willing to reinstate former trade privileges to those who share his vision. Can we count you amongst them?
We're currently looking for new partners in our Hextech research. And as a supporter of House Tallis, you'd be the first in line to any of our advancements.
Not what you know, but who you know. has no clue what's going on above him. Which is very interesting how they displayed that.
How exactly do you propose we go about this?
Let him think you work here.
Is he in a gimp suit? Was that the coin from the day Grayson died? Because if that is so, that is an amazing detail.
Imagining yourself a hero. One final act to make you the martyr you've always seen yourself as. You're the only one I can trust with this, Jinx.
I keep seeing them. That day.
Does she know that he was the one that kidnapped Vander and was the Nexus?
Have you heard anything about Powder? I think Silco has her.
Silco's number 2's irregular. I can have Miguel tell you where to find her.
Oh, Victor, don't die now. Oh, Victor. Victor is trying to solve the problem, and he's dying while Jace is getting his rocks off. So it's an interesting juxtaposition where you've got physical sex going on, yet bodies joining, and then you've got blood joining the magic. Are they related, or they just put them in there together just because? Again, interesting. But where's Victor? Did he die?
That day, I let a weak man die.
Because if he was baptized, is the
And another was reborn.
getting a baptism vibe, parallel metaphor.
It'll eat you from the inside out. Can either break you or forge you into something greater.
That is true.
You're strong now, just like you were always meant to be.
Total baptism. Okay. Which is sad. He's molding her into a tool.
Searching to behold the stories that I told.
Is that really them? That's Imagine Dragons. That is amazeballs. I have no idea what they look like. But if that is them, that's so cool. It's so random. Just, okay. Oh. Yeah, there's... Oh! 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 Oh!
You filthy traitor. Vander had his chance.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I recognize her. She was the one that said, "You're weak." Okay. Now I recognize her, which just makes it... Oh. 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 God, this animation. So she's a juiced Winter Soldier. So, this is why I find animation fascinating, is what did they use as a reference for this scene? Was it actual footage? Was it existing footage? Did they make new footage? Because it's wonderfully done, beautifully done. Brutal as hell, but I'm appreciating the artistry of this. Oh, jeez.
Where's he keeping her?
Keeping her? You mean Jinx? She works for him. She's like his daughter. I'll give her your regards.
Why did you let her go?
Do you ever say thank you?
Yeah, because she did let her go. I think if she wanted to, Caitlin could have killed her.
You gonna help me out, Cupcake?
Stop calling me that. My name is Caitlin.
The sister. She's back.
From the dead.
So they thought she was dead. Interesting. It almost feels as if at the end of every episode, I have to take a moment and go, how am I feeling? How am I feeling and why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? So this episode was equal parts very intriguing, yet a little frustrating. Because, you know, we're getting like, remember when I said earlier that it was like the first 3 episodes were one show and now they're going, here's a totally different show. Because so 3-act story structure, boom, boom, boom. If we were going to take this season as complete of a story as they could make it, business side, without knowing if they were going to get a season 2, episode 5 in the 10-episode series, we should be right here in your 3-act story structure. But it feels to me as if we are still here. We're still creating tension and drama and laying down information to tell you this is what's at stake. Whereas halfway through, I would expect us to already be in the problem-solving mode and getting some of that work done to solve the initial story problem. And we're not. Again, as I said earlier, it's almost as if we were given the first 3 episodes and go, hey, look, here's a story. And now we start over with episode 4 going, but we're going to tell this story. But now we're going to change the story and tell it this way and have to we took you back 3 steps to build you back up again. And this is why, for me, it makes my brain go, okay, so does that mean for the last 5 episodes, they're going to rush to the end because they've spent half this season getting to that apex? Or are we never going to finish? And they're going to still keep introducing us to somewhat new concepts or just take their sweet time. And if they're taking their sweet time and then they rush to that season finale. And I know some of you are thinking, Anna, you're thinking too hard. Just let the story wash over you. So this is why so there's shows that I watch that are specifically just to turn my brain off. And then there's other shows that I watch to learn how to do my craft better. Because when you're trying to be a storyteller, the way you learn is by reading or watching other stories. And then you break them down, analyze them, and then you figure out what made them successful or what made it not quite so successful. And then try to avoid those unsuccesses in your own work. So that's why I'm thinking so hard when I'm watching this, because right now for me, it's the pacing. The pacing is what's slightly off. Yeah, I'm seeing little scenes of interest and little things that make the world richer, but is it furthering the plot line? Not necessarily. For example, the whole Piltover Jace council thing. If you want a really good example of how politics works, that little 2-3 minute segment of him learning how to grease the wheels is excellent. Boils down to those with money and connections will always have power and money and connections. The underground, the trenches, whatever, they don't have those connections. They will always, 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 always be left behind. So if you want a really quick, down and dirty example of how politics works, there you go. But I don't think this show's about politics. I want to know more about Vi trying to, save her sister, if that's what I don't know if her intention originally was to save her sister or to find her. I know her intention initially was to find Powder. Find Powder. That's it. She has no idea what Powder's been up to since she's been in prison. Find Powder. That's her goal. And then I think her second goal would be to stop Silco. So that's, again, that story is for me way more intriguing than Jace figuring out the politics of Piltover. And so by end of episode 5, the only thing I'm really thinking is I want the story to start moving, and I don't want Victor to die. That was my biggest takeaway from that episode was I don't want Victor to die. Victor seems to be the only one who, you know, while Jace said he wanted to use the magic to make a better world for everyone and save people, Victor seems to be the only one who's actually put in the work, and I don't want him to die. But yeah, so that's my thoughts halfway through this season. Don't know if you can make any sense of them. I'm making sense of them to myself later on in my head. I've got my little color-coded Post-it notes trying to track everything. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for joining me on this ride. I do hope you join me for other shows that I start to watch in the future. Watch in the future. I'm getting some really great suggestions from you all, and if only there were more hours in the day. But again, I do thank you very much. And yes, until next time, y'all.